that was to wake you guys up, and secondly, that was to the amazing sponsors who actually put this event up in first place, right? So yeah, thank you, yes, Sensei. So if we think about it, we all have dreams and aspirations that we all hold very personal to ourselves, right? Now, these might be small little things or small little changes that I want in my life, you guys would want in your lives, or these might be really big milestones that you are planning to hit, which would change the trajectory of your personal lives. I sincerely hope that most of you out here, they are at least pursuing something or have a path in mind wherein someday, somewhere, somehow, you would essentially go out there and build your career based on your passion, and not just for the fact that, okay, you are maybe in engineering college. I don't know if all of you are from the engineering background, might not, might be. Let us take a step back here, and when I say a step back, think about the times when, say around 10 to 15 years in the past, when you guys were back in, say, school, you were really small little kids, young boys and girls, right? So think about your dreams at that point of time. What do you dream of becoming? I remember I wanted to be a pilot. I am sure at least a lot of you out there had that dream. Some of you wanted to be an astronaut, for instance. Some of you wanted to be a dancer. Someone wanted to be a singer. Someone wanted to be, say, an actor. These are really magnificent dreams. Why did we let them go? Why did we not pursue it? What happened? So when we were in, say, grade 3rd, 4th, we all wanted to do something amazing. It just changed over time. As in when we grew up, to put it in simpler words, it looks like we ended up being dumb. And we just let our dreams go, and we followed the herd. We ended up taking up dreams which are not really ours. Our society pushed us towards doing something which everyone around us was doing, and we never really questioned. We just go out with and ended up taking it up. Let me not dwell into philosophy here and try and give you a quick short snippet about my story. So when I say my story, essentially a big part of my story begins back in the 10th grade. Now, this is the point of time when we had percentages, right? Most of you might be fresh graduates. I'm not that old, by the way. I am 22. I guess I'm 20, something like that. Either 22 or I remember this day, my class 10 board results were out, and I had scored a decent enough 90%, exactly 90. I was happy. My mom and dad were happy as well. So yeah, I was celebrating. But for some reason, people around me, school or say my neighbors, in a very small little society that I lived in, so people around me, they didn't get it. Like it was seen. Yes, Ankur was happy, but people around me somehow didn't get it. Like as if it was not enough. And from that day when results were out, I didn't exist for people for some reason, and I tried to figure out and dwell into understanding why was this happening. When I paid attention to it, I realized that, okay, Ankur had scored 90%, but then there were my friends who had scored 95%. And they were in the limelight. I was no longer in the limelight. Because that was essentially just 25 marks. And if I have to put it in simpler words, I missed one 5-mark question for God's grace in every single paper. It's not a big deal. Everybody does that. And you are making a big deal out of, okay, he scored 25 marks more than me. Really, even grow up. But then, that's something which I had in my mind. People in my society didn't have that. So that 5% actually differentiated between who would be successful and who would be termed as a failure, right? And I was young, and I had been running that journey for like say past 16 years, trying to say be good enough for people, trying to score marks. That's what we all have done in our lives. And I felt bad. I really felt bad. So obviously I would do essentially what any one of you would have done at that point, right? There are two things people do at that point of time. Either you will try to do better, or else you just don't care and you just go, right? So I did the other thing. I tried to do better. So class 11 started for me. I put in a lot of effort, right? I tried to overdo things. For some reason, I knew I was not doing it for myself. I was doing it just so that people could actually approve of me. I was seeking for approval, and that's what essentially every one of us does it. I mean, we might not really personally care about 2 marks, but why do I go the extra mile to get those 2 marks? Is only because of the fact people can come up and say, okay, Ankur is an example of a successful individual. He'll go and do something great, and that's what I was running down for. To be fair, obviously, I'm here today because that didn't happen, right? So what happened next was, this was a turning point for my life, but I never had figured it out, nor did I ever really realize that it was a turning point for my life unless and until I got humiliated by someone who I did hold close to my heart, right? So there was this physics teacher of mine, right, who I had looked up to all my life till my 10th grade, and this was during one of the exams in 11th grade when I had scored miserably bad. I somehow passed. Dad was furious. Like, first exam, so somehow it's fine. The next exam, I still remember, I studied. Trust me, I studied. I put day and night just for that paper. And honestly, I was excited about the result. I went out there and I asked my professor, how did I score this thing? And he said, you did really well. Like, you did amazing this time. And 2 days later, I have a paper in front of me. Can any of you guess how much did I score? How much? Somebody said 0. That's it. Essentially, right? I scored 23.25. Are you kidding me? Right? I get it, right? I get it that I might be dumb according to you, but 23.25, are you really kidding me that I did well, right? So, honestly, I felt bad and I took that personally. It might look like a joke right now because how I said it, it's a joke to me even right now. But yes, I felt bad at that point of time. And not just that he made fun of me, I felt bad because I somehow hold that experience very personally. It might not be that important to anyone else. And so from that point on, I realized it doesn't really matter because I will always be that boy who has scored 90% and there are guys who have scored 95%. It doesn't really matter what I do, what I try to do for them. I will never be good enough for them. And they will continue, say, bad-mouthing or not holding me up to the standards where they hold my peers, right? So I figured out, let me not really care about that. Instead, what I decided was, why not try and do things which I like? I have always had a knack for, say, traveling, for instance, right? I had never explored it. I decided over the next, say, 2 years that I have before I graduate from school, I'll try and do essentially everything that I can to figure out a path to build a career around my passion. And that's essentially what I did. So when I graduated, right, one thing that I had realized was the last year of my college, and that was by the time I was in my 4th year, I had practically cut myself off from literally everyone back home. It's not that I wanted to do it, it's just because of the fact, for some reason when I was on the path which was less travel, I was not the most adequate example or the best example that people would want to put forth out in front of their kids. Like, nobody would say that, can you, look at Ankur Bhaiya, Ankur Dada or whatsoever, right? That he's doing NIP. Dude, he's studying fashion technology. Nobody's going to say that. People would say something like, look at XY, he's an IIT dude, you should go there. And that's essentially what is wrong with the society. Nobody cares what you really want to do. They will try and impose something upon you that is, okay, that's I don't care what you want to do, you should do that. And that's the reason I was not an example that people used to give. So that was maybe one of the reasons why I saw myself cutting out. And yes, by the time I was about to graduate, I was far away from most of the people. One thing that was true was I was really close to my mom and dad within those 4 years. And the reason being, maybe that I was cutting away from my friends or people whom I called friends at that point of time, or so on and so forth, right? Now, what really matters here is, over the years when I have come across different people, successful people from a variety of walks of life, one thing which is common for everyone who has done something different is your journeys are very personal. Like, I cannot tell you if you want to be something, I cannot really tell you how do you go there. It's a journey that you will figure out for yourself. It's a path that you will build for yourself. But one thing that I can tell you is, there's one thing common between successful people everywhere. It might be, say, Bill Gates, who's really successful, or it might be, say, anyone who's just starting out to be successful. He might have got success in just the smallest step in his life, right? And that common thing is, there's a price to pay, and every single dream that you have, you will have a price to pay. Nothing comes for free. Even if it is the most hidden cost we're talking about, there will be a price to pay. And that is the reason most of you out here will not go out and do something different. It's a negative statement, I know, but most of you out here will never go out and do something different. Most of you will continue going down the path which the society says and deems as the most conventional one, because most of us are really scared. Like, we are, in other words, we are really coward. Yeah. So, yeah, that is the problem. And why? Because we don't want to take a chance. We don't want us single-handedly pushed to one corner wherein we are paying the price of a dream that we hold personally, right? We would want to run along with the herd, because if I am paying a price, there are 100 other people paying the same price with me, and that's the reason it doesn't feel like I am doing something extraordinary, and I feel that I am taken care of, or I feel that for some reason I would not be targeted. Now, every single point of time you try to do something non-conventional, there is a big price to pay. Think of it in this way, like, let's just take an example. Imagine you are in the midst of your, say, professional career, right? You have been in the industry for, say, 7 years, and you're doing really good, making good money, and then one finally you realize, okay, I wanted to do something in the creative arts field, right? And you are not doing that right now. What is the step that you see? The step that you see is you need some time out from your daily schedule to figure out and discover that for you. And how would that happen is you would take a cut from your salary, because of the fact you will start working less hours in your job just to devote more time and energy into something that you're trying to build. Now, for a short span of time, that might be okay, but when it comes to, say, a longer span of time, it might mean that you will have to sacrifice the lifestyle that you are going through. It might affect your family, your relationships. So, to push an example out here, let's just imagine I'm madly infatuated about, say, XYZ girl in my college. Right now, I have two paths in front of me. One, I go out there and I ask her out. The price here that I'll pay is, maybe I'll be ridiculed, maybe I'll be humiliated, maybe I'll be turned down as well. That's the price that I'm willing to pay. On the other hand, I don't ask her out and I just sit there. And the price that I'm paying here is, somebody else might ask her out and she might not be eligible anymore. So what you realize is there are two paths and both of them have a price tag attached. It's for you to decide which is the path that you are going to choose. And how you decide that is always make a decision based on the fact that you hold it personal to you, you hold it very close to your heart, and that's when you make a decision. Because when you come across a decision which is close to your heart, you will follow a journey which essentially will give you, or what I define as success is, which gives you happiness just for the idea that you are following that path, right? So when you are working on a creative project, I don't know how many of you follow creative arts out here. If you're following a creative project, it doesn't really matter at that point of time whether your manuscript gets published, whether your book gets published, whether your artwork hits an exhibition or not. You really are happy and you get motivated by the journey itself. It actually, you see yourself getting so much of understanding about yourself while you follow that path, that it doesn't really matter at the end whether your final outcome is a positive one or a negative one. And that's the whole idea of what I define as success. Okay, now coming back to it, right? So I had pushed up a statement at that point of time which said I did cut off from most of the people I knew back at home. Give me a raise of hand. How many of you out here think that's a negative thing? Just give me a hand. I mean, you guys can understand me, right? Okay, so what I asked was, when I said at the end of say college, I was no longer in touch with most of the people from back home. How many of you think that is a bad thing or a negative thing? Just give me a raise of hand. Even if you don't think, at least one if you raise your hand. I know others will raise their hands as well. Okay, yeah, two of you. Okay, still, anyways. So that was a price for me to pay. And people ask me, do you regret that, Ankur? Do you look back? The answer is yes, I do look back. I mean, I grew up out there, right? Do I regret? My answer is no, I don't regret, because honestly, I do realize that I might have lost a few friends in the journey. I have made 100 new, and these are people who possibly push me every single day, people who are doing much better than me at a much younger age. That's how I get inspired. And if I wouldn't have been ready to pay that price, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So yeah, pretty much that's one thing which I want you to take away from this talk. And one final thing, right? So I got talking with a couple of your colleagues last evening, as well as every single time that I interact with students in any of the talks, right? They say, I mean, everyone out here, if I ask, okay, how many of you want to travel? I mean, do you have a date for it? Like, don't take it in the way that I asked you, do you have a date for it? I asked you, do you guys have a number in your mind or a calendar date in sense when you plan to do that? Do you guys have anything planned? No, and that's okay, you guys have planned, that's amazing. And that's one thing which is missing in today's society. We all want to do 10 different things, right? People say their dreams are to go out there, travel the world. Some of them say, I want to write a book. Some of them say, I want to own a Ferrari. Nobody cares when you do it. They don't have that marked in their calendar. And what you're losing out here is when you don't have that marked on your calendar, you don't know when you are going to reach there. And people say it's never too late to start. Amazing, that's right. But they don't tell you one truth about life is, it's much easier to start when you are young than when you start at a later age. Reason being, the amount of liberty and time you have in your hand right now, you won't have that 10 years down the line. That's obvious, and that's something which people don't tell you. So, yeah, pretty much this sums up my talk here. I would want to leave you with one quick anecdote here, right? And that is, do yourself a favor tonight, right? Just do this for yourself. Do yourself a favor tonight. Before you hit the bed today, ask yourself one last question, and that is, what do I really want to do in my life? What really drives me? You might get 10 different answers. Try to zero in on one small answer, because you have already embarked on a journey. You're already, say, third year, second year, or first year students for that matter, right? You have already started your journey. When you figure out what your dream is, try and start out a new life tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow morning, start figuring out your life from there on. How do you reach where you want to be? Say 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, right? Try and do that for yourself, because, I mean, obviously, no matter what I say, no matter what anybody says, we never know when our ticket life can expire, and you would just sit there regretting that I didn't try enough. And so, yeah, that's it. Thank you.